Hey guys, good afternoon. This is Anna from Hotoptionbabe.com. I would like to go over several different charts with you, starting with Apple. I first want to do this. I'm gonna make this a little bit. I like to get that a little bit more chart on my screen here by superimposing the lower studies, and you can do that in Thinkorswim by going to your settings and hitting the General tab. And now, you know from my posts and comments that I've been short Apple since last week, and I continue to be short Apple. And on every bounce or rip, I sell my puts, and every and then I re-add. On every nice dip, I sell my puts, and every bounce, I'm re-adding. Now, why am I doing that with Apple? Apple has been trailing the market. It's called relative weakness, and I usually use the term RS, RW, relative weakness. RS is relative strength. That means if you can overlay Apple over the S&P or the ES or the NASDAQ, it's comparably weaker than the other indices. So now I've got some support and resistance levels here on Apple. You can see how accurate these things are. It's just amazing to see that on this 60-minute chart, this level was hit. Look at that, to a T. And I didn't draw that. I took the fans and drew from the high to the low, and that's what you come up with. So that's how accurate these things are. So I actually drew it from the high of 362 down to the low on the 60-minute chart of 326.26. Okay. Now another indicator that I saw this. Look at this, the histogram. Weakening, okay? And it looked right for a great opportunity to go in a short trade. Now you can do it via put spread. You can sell a call spread, which would be a bear call spread. And when I do continue my webinars, which I'm going to do, but I do believe that I'm going to have to limit some of the attendees, because I of course want my members in, but I also would like to see a lot more people. However, it costs me a lot of money to run those things, like $100 a month. So I may have to charge like $5.99 or something. But they're really good, and then you can ask anybody who's attended that they're fairly good. Now, and then I'm gonna show you one of my bad trades this week too. But I'm gonna go over Apple first. Okay, and from now on, I'm going to start, I think we're all tempted to get excited about our great trades, and we obviously don't get excited about our bad ones. But I have them, and of course, just like anybody else. And when you look at a chart is like a screenshot of time that has passed. All you can do is gather the information you have, but I'm not the only person looking at this chart that sees what I see. So somebody else may be saying they're short Apple as well, or they see what I see, because it's a picture. So you're going to have people that see it, and you're going to have people that don't. And so different people are going to come up with the same conclusions sometimes, and other people won't. I'm very big into technical analysis, and it doesn't always work. You've got to take everything, all the information that you have, put it together, and then decide what the best outcome that you think might be. And a lot of times I'll pass. And if the setups don't look good, I'll pass. You can overanalyze to death, and then you never take a trade. But I usually try to do my research, my homework, before I ever put on a trade. And they doesn't guarantee they're always going to work, but technical analysis, they work about, I'd say 75% of the time. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. You'll have an argument on that case, but those are pretty good odds, okay? If you went to Vegas and knew you'd win about 70% of the time, wouldn't be so bad. But just like in Vegas, the house or the market makers are the house, and they want you to lose. So they're going to throw, especially with options, you have to know every single moving part in an option to be successful. You can't just say, I'm bearish on Apple, and you be great at technical analysis and pick the absolute wrong option like many people do, and you can't understand why you lost money. And that's what I know. I have a lot of years with options, and I'm quite familiar with them. Anyway, so looking at the chart here on Apple, we see that this is just some kind of line. I don't even know where that came from. Okay, that got drawn somehow. Okay, so we're looking at Apple. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can really see. I'm going to start going in more in depth with you on these things. So let's look at it a little bit bigger, tighten it up a little bit so you can see what I see. Okay, now when Apple last week, I'm not exactly the exact point. I'm not gonna mince words on that. But when I saw that 10-day moving average, or the shorter time moving average, cross the longer term, that's a bearish signal for me. No matter whether it's on an hourly chart or a daily chart, that's what I use. Okay, it crossed over. I said, everything sort of looks good. Look at this. Okay, this lines up. You had bearish divergence. Okay, now this is going back over about right here. When did it cross over? Right here. Okay, because I've been in there we go, about right here. There's where the 10 crossed the 30. This is where I got interested. This is when, because up until then, it wasn't a good trade because of the power of the oscillator. And you didn't have any kind of indication that the stock was doing nothing more than just taking, there was some profit taking in it. All right, so we're going to look at this. I'm going to go in pretty much in depth here. You saw the shorter time moving average cross the longer time. There was some supports that were broken as well, and the stochastics were pointing down. Now, I use the stochastics. That's my last tool, as I put together a picture. That's my last tool because they can just rip back and forth, and you can get something really oversold and really overbought, and you can scalp. But as far as a swing trader, the stochastics are sort of, for me, is sort of the last tool in my toolkit. Although I do like it and I do use it. I also use pivots. Okay, and these are pivots. These pink, red, and green lines are pivots. These lines here, the red, the blue, the green, the pink, and the purple, are support. They're support and resistance lines. Now, as of right now, I'm going to open this up really big so you can see it. I'm trying to get it really in depth here so you understand. Okay. Now, when I look at a pattern, when I was back here with that shorter time frame, I saw head and shoulder for me. So, and that's obviously playing out here. Whoops, where did that go? Okay, so we have a head and shoulder that was forming, so that drew my attention. I see those, they're like little pictures in my heads. Fibonacci fans. Okay, and I'm gonna get rid of this drawing. Sorry, these things are so sensitive. Okay, forget it. All right. So these are your support and resistance lines. Now, we had a head and shoulder. Okay, look at that. Boom, we had a big fall, especially when that 10 crossed that 30. Okay, these are your support and resistance lines, remember. Okay, so, I'm trying to open this up a little bit more so you can see it. And so those are what I watch for right now. Okay, it came back up. This is when I added here last week. I added a lot right here. It failed to get it up above this pivot, so I added some more. And then there was also a bear flag in play, and it worked beautifully. And I was in and out several times. I commented on last week about when I was in, when I was out. And you can see it held support right here at 326.26. I'm expecting that we do retest that, okay? I'm expecting we're going to retest those lows and possibly break down and go even lower on Apple, okay? And we're going to go over here, okay? So that's the 60-minute. We'll take a quick peek at the daily. Tighten that up a little bit. And if you don't know, on your chart settings, I also have used Thinkorswim for many, many years. So any of you that are interested in webinars on that, I have a lot of experience with the Thinkorswim platform. So appearance, okay, why is the chart all the way over to the left? Well, because I've been moving it around. So how do I reset that? I'm going to go to expansion. I'm going to click 100. I'm going to click apply, and there you go. Now it looks more normal. Okay, so that's where we are. The histogram, very bearish. Okay, very bearish. So, and you can also see right here, gap down, gap fill, gap up, gap fill, gap down, gap fill. So you can always watch for those gap reversals as well. Okay, let's go to silver, where I did not a good trade. SLV. This was I put this on I believe last week, before last week, because I didn't have a very good week with silver. Waiting for the data to come up. Hello, where's the data? Let's try changing the time frame here. And it's not wanting to come up. Let's try this. This is the silver futures. See if that's going to work for us. If not, I may have to stop and then do another video, because for some reason it doesn't seem to want to work for me here. Let's go over to this flexible grid. It might be down. So it looks like Thinkorswim is having a problem with their data feed. Lovely. Let's check profit and see if it's coming up. Nope. It's not coming up either. Let's try one more, and then I'm going to have to stop the video and restart Thinkorswim. Obviously, the data's not coming out. It says waiting for data, but nothing's coming. Alright, so I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to close out Thinkorswim and reload it and see if that helps. And I'll be back with silver, and I'll be back with the E-minis, and I'll be back with crude. Okay? Thanks. See you guys. Have a great day, and talk to you later.